Hey guys, it's Mountain Walk, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about Wildfire. Yep, it's another pre-modern deck tech thing, so this should be pretty interesting. Uh, this one, I put it off for a while. I wasn't really sure if I was going to do one on it. I was like, I'm not sure if I care, but when I started building the deck, I had a lot of fun. Had a lot of fun playing it. So I figured, well, might as well do a thingy on it. So this is pretty cool. Obviously, look at the art on this card. Got that sweet Carl Critchlow art. You got dinosaurs, volcanoes. I mean, it's total bedlam, which is sweet. So let's let's go ahead and let's get started. All right. So probably the nicest thing about playing this deck is that you are more consistent than a lot of the other ancient tomb decks, just due to the fact that you have so many copies of Wildfire, which is really, really nice. Um, you get to play dragons, which is also really nice and sweet. Like, you just can't go wrong with Covetous Dragon. That card's awesome. Um, you got sweepers, a lot of sweepers, which is really sweet. So that makes it, I mean, this deck is actually pretty easy to play, pretty simple, So I like that quite a bit. So let's go ahead and look at the deck list. Okay, so we got some threats, we got some removal, and then we got some ramp, and that's pretty much it. The stuff like Temporal Aperture is kind of nice because it gives you something to do with your excess mana. Arc Lightning's a little bit more removal. Uh, and the lands are basically nothing tricky here, just a bunch of double lands, which is very nice because that makes it easier for us to ramp out our big old spells. And then the sideboard, Pyroblast for blue decks, Clasm, Crumbling Sanctuary for a lot of the other aggressive decks, red decks, that kind of stuff. Then you have a bunch of wish targets, Recoup, Pillage, Wildfire, Decree of Annihilation. So you have like basically seven wildfires in your main deck, which is nice. So you'll pretty much always be able to have one. So you won't have to get overran by little dorks or whatever, or the control decks building up huge mana bases or whatever. So yeah, pretty sweet, pretty easy to understand. Not much going on, just bombs, just mono bombs basically. So yeah, and Arc Lightning's basically there to fill the gap. Of course, speaking of Arc Lightning, the reason I play Arc Lightning instead of, like, say, Bolt or something is that you have so much extra mana, and being able to split this up can be pretty nice. And, uh, you can still go upstairs with it too. So I think I like it more than Bolt, and it's pretty sweet, and it's one of my favorite cards. So any chance I get to play it, I'll probably play it. Then we got Recoup, basically just lets you flash back your sorceries, mainly Wildfire. Then we got Decree of Annihilation. This makes it so blue decks can't just counter your Wildfire after you Burning Wish for it, and so it'll make every single one of your Burning Wishes have to be countered too, because you can't counter the cycling part of Decree unless they have a Stifle, and so that's pretty sweet. You can also cycle at instant speed, which is kind of nice, could be useful. And oh, I guess you can cycle it under a standstill too. It's kind of funny. Then we got Petradon. Now this is probably the most wonkiest thing. It's huge. It's a huge beast, a huge nightmare beast even. It lives through Wildfire, of course. If you have extra red mana, it's Fire Breeze and a double Stone Rain when it enters the battlefield. So this thing is sweet. It really adds to the LD nature of the deck, which I think is pretty awesome. So yeah, Petradon's my boy. It's one of my favorite cards. One of my favorite old red creatures that's not like a goblin or something, because it's just so huge and weird looking, and it's like, oh my gosh, so powerful. Double Stone Rains, like, you really get your mana's worth with Petradon. That's all I'm gonna say. This card's amazing. All right, so you can play stuff like Waste Important here, which may or may not be a good idea. I'm not 100% sure. I mostly just wanted to just go with big big bomby splashy plays. Waste and Porter obviously very good. Maybe both in the deck, maybe not. But you really want to ramp out your stuff, so the 2 mana lands gotta do a lot of the heavy lifting. Because we can't play like Monolith and Key. So Waste and Porter good. But I think just going with just more ramp is better. Of course, there's all sorts of additional wish targets, all sorts of hate spells, Earthquake or Karavex Torch or something like that could double as like an X spell to win, or like yeah, Karavex Torch might be kind of nice. Yeah. Um, there is like you could go more of a Ponza direction if you want to add like Stone Rains and stuff main deck. Maybe play some Black Vice. Black Vice might be interesting here too, if you're able to keep them from playing stuff or whatever. And Vice will finish him off pretty easily, and of course it dodges creature removal, pretty nice. Sideboard's pretty good, but there are all sorts of other things you might want to play. Like you want to deal with Null Rod, so maybe something like Rack and Ruin or Shattering Pulse really would be a good one because it's good in the mirror, good for all sorts of other random artifacts. So something like that. Of course, I always like playing 4 Crypts, but three's good enough depending on what you expect. And there's other stuff you could play main deck. Mox Diamond's pretty good. You have to play a few more lands though to really support it. So I'm okay with just like with the like Fire Diamonds and stuff at the moment. So I haven't tested Mox Diamond, but it does change the mana base a bit. You do need more lands. Of course, Wind Orb again, very very powerful too, and it kind of makes them play into the Wildfire more. Like if they're not able to cast their spells, they'll have to play more lands and stuff. So yeah, that might be interesting. Not exactly sure how it'll play out, but obviously Wind Orb is a good card. I guess there could even be something like Sabo's Web in the sideboard, but this deck already has so much land destruction and stuff. Probably don't need specific cards for land still. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like the deck is not super hard, pretty easy to play. Just ramp, drop a big old dragon or something, Wildfire, rebuild. I mean, you'll probably have to Wildfire a couple times depending on what's going on, but yeah. So it's not much more to say here. Deck is pretty sweet. It's pretty cool. Got a lot of good stuff going on. I like it a lot. I get to play a bunch of my own pet cards. But yeah, basically the strategy is mono bombs. Just keep throwing stuff until something sticks. So yep. So that's it. That's it for today, guys. It's kind of a short one, but yeah, there we go. So thanks for stopping by and have a great day.